Today's demo is going to be on Swiss Buttercream, which is a meringue type buttercream that I will make for you. As we know, there's three types of meringue. There is French, where you add the sugar into your egg whites slowly. There is Italian, which you make a syrup and pour it into your egg whites slowly. And then there is the Swiss, where you warm your egg whites and sugar over a double boiler, and then you to 120 degrees, and then you whip it to a stiff peak, and then we cream some butter and powdered sugar, and then we fold those two together and then beat them, and that makes a nice Swiss meringue, our Swiss buttercream, which is very good. This is my favorite buttercream to make. Because we're using all butter, it's going to, when you eat the buttercream, it's going to melt in your mouth versus coat your mouth, which if you eat a cake and it coats your mouth, that means they use hydrogenated shortening in their buttercream, which is less expensive, and it's oil with hydrogen somehow incorporated through this chemical process and makes it a solid mass. And then that buttercream is able to hold more air, more volume. So that's why when you go to some places like Smith and Costco, the way they keep their costs down is they use hydrogenated fat versus all butter. It also stores better when you use hydrogenated, so it's a little bit safer. When you use all butter, you have to 3 days on the counter and that's it, and then you have to store it in the refrigerator, and then you take it out and you let it come to room temp. So Swiss buttercream, today's demo. Enjoy. Butter, lots of hydrogenated fat, which is, if you ever had buttercream and it coated your mouth, that's the hydrogenated fat, which is basically oil with hydrogen in it, and it becomes a solid mass, but it's able to hold more air, and that's why people use it, because they get more volume out of it. It's also cheaper than butter, so that's why Costco, their buttercreams are used hydrogenated fat, and that way they can get more volume out of it and it's less expensive. So I've got my butter, okay, and I got powdered sugar and a little bit of vanilla. Don't use too much, otherwise it's going to color your buttercream. I'm gonna put this on the mixer. And with a paddle, I'm going to cream the butter and the powdered sugar. Now I have 2 bowls. When you do this, you'll take the butter and the powdered sugar out of the bowl. Make sure you clean that bowl very well. If there's any fat left and you're going to make a meringue out of the egg whites, if there's any fat left, your meringue will not come together. It will stay flat. It won't become a meringue. Boiler, which is just water in a pot, simmering water, not boiling water. And what we're going to do, Swiss meringue, your meringue is in a pot, so it's egg whites, granulated sugar, and we're going to heat that to 120 degrees. And what that does is it dissolves all the sugar. You guys have made a French meringue where you whip the egg whites and then slowly add the sugar to your meringue. That's probably the most unstable meringue. Swiss meringue is the second strongest meringue, and where we dissolve the sugar in our egg whites. We're going to get this to 120 degrees, and then we're going to whip it to a meringue. See the temperature I want. But I can tell by looking at it, seeing that my sugar is almost all dissolved. Again, your water's not boiling. The Italian buttercream is the sturdiest buttercream, and where I would take water and sugar, make a syrup, cook it to 240, and then I would take that syrup and pour it into my egg whites and make a meringue. That's the sturdiest one, and we use that a lot for mousses. But not so, you can use it for buttercreams, but I find it better just to use the Swiss. The recipe says cream of tartar. I don't have any cream of tartar. So I'm going to put a drop of lemon juice in it, and that's acid that's going to help. And I always have to lift up the side of my mixer because I want it to be able to hit the bottom. So be very careful, but you want to make sure that it's hitting the bottom of your bowl. And then we're going to put it on speed. I'm on speed 8 right now, and I'm going to let that whip. So you want to cream the butter, powdered sugar, and vanilla in a bowl. Then we heated the egg whites, granulated sugar to 120 in a double boiler. And now we're whipping those egg whites to a stiff heat. All right, so now we're going to add the meringue to our butter. Nice, nice. And we're going to whip that to the consistency but you can over mix. That's why it's really important that your egg whites is cool and pretty stiff and still shiny. Okay, if it's not shiny, it's over mixed. All right, I'm going to scrape everything off, make sure it all gets combined. Fold this in a little bit before I start mixing. That way I know it's off the bottom and the sides. You can see it's already fluffy, but we want to add some more air into it mechanically. We're going to use a paddle this time. And we're going to cream that. For about 5 minutes, and then we'll check it. I'm not worried about getting too much volume today because I will whip it next week before I use it. Buttercream can sit out for 3 days. The sugar is a preservative, so it will kill the bacteria from the egg whites. We also heated the egg whites to kill some of the bacteria as well. And then when you refrigerate it, always pull it out a day before you're going to use it so that it comes to room temp. You never want to use the buttercream from the refrigerator to your cake. It's because if you try and beat it, you'll lose all the air that's been incorporated in it, and it will never work. So always pull it out a day before and let it get to room temp, and then you're going to re-beat it, okay? Buttercream can hold for about a month in the refrigerator. You can also freeze it for longer, okay? Then you're going to store it in an airtight container so it can't take on any odors that are from the refrigerator. Always smell the containers to make sure that they don't have an onion smell or a garlic smell or any type of other smell, because the buttercream will absorb that flavor that's in whatever container it is. It also absorbs any moisture if it's left open that might be in your refrigerator, so that's why it's always got to be covered in an airtight container. Store it. Smell the container first.